Finished up Marshall Ulrich's Running on Empty audiobook. It took me probably 26 days to actually finish it up. It was like an 8-hour audiobook. I just never really got captured by it, so I kept turning it off, putting it back on, going back and forth. I really thought it was going to be really good because it was supposed to be about his run across America. But the first half of the book, it was more about his failed marriages and love life and how he met his, I guess, current wife, and just a little bit of his past ultra running. So it really was not that interesting to me, and it really didn't make much sense setting up the rest of the book itself, which the premise again was running across America from California to New York. There was some struggles that he had getting ready. The dates kept getting pushed back. He had injuries and sponsorship issues. So that part started to get a little bit interesting. There wasn't a hell of a lot of details. And then he basically teamed up with Charlie Engle, which is another famous ultra runner who's done a lot of crazy stuff as well. And he basically got like the sponsors and stuff like that and set things up like for video production, because they were both going to run across America at the same time and sort of try to tag team the record and break it. But it became more of a bashing of Charlie and how Charlie was such a bad guy a lot of the times, and how he was like conniving and backstabbing, and just bashing him in general than really focusing on the run itself. I mean, if you're going to run across America and take you, I think it was like 57 days is what he ended up doing it in, you could really give a lot more detail and go into certain topics a lot more than he did. Just, he would mention something and then he would switch topics, or just some of like the stuff going on behind the scenes instead of actually focusing on the run across America itself. Like, he could have gave like backstories of some of the cool things that he saw, or people he met, which he did like once or twice, but he really could have gone in depth and had conversations with people and that he had interactions with. Well, I'm assuming he did. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. It just sort of lost me because he would start to get into details, days, we'll say 7 through 12, started, sore legs in the morning, was tired all day, and more about like fueling than actually like the run and what he went through or what he passed during the day. And then he'd get back to like bashing Charlie or what happened with him going back and forth with Charlie. Not just bashing him, but sometimes he'd be like, yeah, Charlie's like this far behind, and now he's like on his bike because he dropped out, type of thing. Which Charlie, I guess I just spoiled it. Charlie Engle did drop out, if you didn't know, during this run, and he was actually just following on the bike with a production crew. So it just kind of went back and forth instead of staying on topic. And then once in a while he would also go back and mention a few other races, or like his other wives and stuff like that, and not really sticking on topic or anything to really engage the listener, I guess. Like, I wanted to be engaged. I wanted to really hear some details about his run across America, or even some of his other ultras, but he never really gave good details. He did mention his Badwater quad, which is running Badwater back and forth twice, but he didn't really go into details of that race either. He mentioned it a bunch, but give me some details if you're going to mention it that many times. And then I want to hear more about the interactions you had, and maybe some more about your crew in general. He did talk some about his crew and what their roles were, but maybe give some more personality details of what they're all about and who they actually are, and not just their job title outside of work and what they did for him. And even the end was kind of just bland and almost forced feeling. I know I'm picking it apart a lot, but I was very disappointed in this book when it had a lot of promise. Even for an 8-hour book, you could have really shoved a lot of details in it and extended it out. I don't know, it just seemed to never really go anywhere, I guess, as a good storyteller would be able to do. So it was kind of missing a lot of substance, because he did break it up usually into like 3 to 7 day periods where he's like, oh, this is day so-and-so to so-and-so. And he could have broke those days down like individually, maybe a little bit more. He went through specifically, hey, this is point A where I started on the day, this is where I ended point B, this is how many miles, how much elevation I got. I didn't talk to anybody this day, so, you know, that sort of type of thing. Whereas he just sort of skipped all those finite details that would have really made the story more interesting and engaging to all parties involved. But it still is one hell of an accomplishment. I won't deny that at all. And he did beat the Masters record, but he didn't beat the overall record. And he did talk a little bit about the production crew that followed him and how they stayed on even though when they didn't get paid. But it just really was not all that exciting. And I have listened to better books giving more details and like things like this. I think Charlie's book was actually a lot better with more details, what was actually going on. I mean, the couple things that did stick out was he did say he did get shot at one time and called the cops and then almost got hit once. But those were like such brief snippets within the story, like a 30-second snippet, that it really didn't make a difference in the story itself. But I wanted to hear like more of those type of scenarios. Maybe not like those type of bad things happening to him, but like interactions and stuff like that. I know one time he might have said about seeing this cool bridge that was falling down or whatever, but if you're going to run across America, you're going to see some really cool things and you're going to have cool interactions with people as word gets out. There's no way around that, and it just needed to be added a little bit more. Even if that did add another couple hours to the book, it really would have brought things together and made it so much better. So honestly, I don't know if I could really recommend listening or reading this book. The narrator did a pretty good job. I can't remember who narrated, if it was him or somebody else, but the voice was pretty good, so that was a positive. But just to waste 7-8 hours and not really be engaged in the content, I can't really say I recommend it. Somebody else might find it a good read or listen, but I just personally didn't. And I respect the guy in general and all his accomplishments. I just wanted a lot more that he brought to the table, and I wanted to hear a lot more than what he actually said, because of all his accomplishments and what he's been able to achieve throughout life. So I guess that's my review of Marshall Ulrich's Running on an Empty book.